For the first time ever, Republicans are winning when it comes to the culture wars, but they are losing when it comes to the economy. Trump's first 2 months in office have been a total success. They've been awesome. And ironically, it has come in a way that is completely foreign to Republicans, at least over the last few decades. We are winning in the culture. Just to name a few, I'll just recap some of what Trump has done. Some of it's Trump, some of it's just kind of the conservative movement as a whole. But just this week, USAID got abolished. Woke media companies like Disney with woke actresses like Rachel Zegler are having movies completely flop. Men can't play in women's sports. Woke universities are caving to the Trump administration. And then, of course, the biggest one, in my opinion, that Trump is hugely popular when it comes to his, what I would say, very zealous immigration plan. In fact, new polling came out this week. I have to show you guys this. It's stunning. It is actually stunning. It's almost turned into those 80-20 issues that we talked about. It is that popular for Trump right now. This is a new CBS News poll. I'll put it up right now, and if you're listening, I'll describe it. This is what they said. The question is, do you approve or disapprove of the Trump administration's program to find and deport immigrants? Again, I would say deportation when it comes to immigration is a pretty hard stance. Like, this isn't just like some, we're not going to let, illegal immigrants into our country. This is deporting them. So again, a hard stance. It's a good one. But the question is, do you support the deportations? Yes or no? Approve. 58% approve. Guys, anything above a 50% is huge. It is hugely popular. They continue on. They kind of break it down into ages 18 to 29. My generation plus 10 got a 55% approval. The worst is millennials, ages 30 to 44, plus 4, still 52%, still a good approval rating. It's very popular between ages 45 and 64, which is kind of Gen X, the most conservative group right now, plus 24, and the baby boomers are actually plus 26. So it's actually very popular, especially the baby boomers actually have been more liberal recently, but it's hugely popular with them. In independents, they even break it down here. 56% approval. GOP, 93%. I don't know who the 7% is that doesn't approve of the deportations on the GOP, but okay. Democrats, 24%. White, 64%. Black, 47%, guys. I just had to break this down. Donald Trump got like 18% of the black vote, and he has a 47% approval on immigration. That is so high. And then they have Hispanics, 47%. All that talk of, you're being racist towards Hispanics. Hispanics don't think so. They like the deportations. And then, of course, the male-female split is 65% approval for male, 53% for female, wildly popular for both, obviously more so with men. So he's hugely popular on immigration. All that's great, which you'll remember Democrats said Trump was a psycho on, super evil maniac. That was the whole shtick of the Democrats last year, which essentially what that means they're saying is that all Americans are evil, because apparently most Americans actually agree with Trump on this. In any case, that Trump is doing a fantastic job with a lot of the social policy, especially immigration. However, there's one big problem, and it's the tariff one. It's really bad. Trump's bread and butter in his first term, you'll remember, was the roaring economy. And believe me, as a Trump voter, as someone who's always going to vote for Trump, that was like, it's close. It's like that and immigration, but they're kind of tied to each other, and a little bit of Doge sprinkled in there were like the reasons I voted for Trump at the end of the day. And I think a lot of people, that was true for them. It won him the election, in my opinion. And it pretty much wins all presidency election. Whoever people think is going to do better on the economy, 9 times out of 10 is going to win the presidency. And Trump right now, for some reason, is abandoning that awesome track record in favor of tariffs, which is, and I'll talk about why, but it's a huge problem. And here's a question some might be asking. Why make this video? Like, what's the purpose of it? The reason why I'm making this video is because the more people that talk about this, the more I think will make it so that he has to abandon it. I think Trump is the kind of guy who wants to do what MAGA wants. I think he's got a good base. He doesn't want to betray them. And so I think if MAGA comes at Trump and says, guys, talking to the Trump administration, we don't want the tariffs. Give us the better economy. I actually think Trump will listen. That's why I'm making the video today. And so, again, if we talk about this, I hope he'll listen and change. The tariffs have to go. They got to go. And I could get into the minutia of the economics. There's, I think you're hard pressed to find an economist who's going to agree with the tariffs. Just saying. But honestly, I don't think that's necessary. This is my pitch to Donald Trump. If I was in the same room with Donald Trump, this is what I'd say. When it comes to the American economy, there's 2 types of people that you're essentially trying to protect. And they're the same person, obviously. The same person could be both of these things, but these are the two groups, if you will. You're trying to protect the American worker, and you're trying to protect the American consumer. And the problem with tariffs is it helps the workers a little bit. There's some debate on how much it really helps, but let's assume for a second it helps the workers. That's certainly the justification from the Trump administration. And then at the same time, it slaps the consumer across the face. And my simple plea for Donald Trump is to change course and implement policy that protects both the worker and the consumer. The reason why it slaps the consumer in the face is because those tariffs are paid by that country, which then pass it on to the business, and then the business then passes it on to the consumer. So if Trump puts a 15% tariff, he can just put a 25% tariff on the auto industry, your automobiles are probably going to go up by about 25%. It's going to get passed on to you. And I don't want that for consumers because I all the time read about how people can't afford cars and all this stuff. And it's like, well, 25% more expensive on your cars is certainly not going to help. And do I want to protect the automotive industry, those workers? For sure. I'm not saying we shouldn't. But at the expense of every other American, I don't think that's a worthy trade-off. So here's my plea to him. If you have a job that's good and all, but everything costs 2 times more, or if your 401k and your IRA is not growing for 4 years, why did we protect the job? What is the job for? Again, like for that automotive worker specifically, they're thinking, well, good, I've got better job security. But if they go to the grocery store and everything is twice as much, what is it all for? And if they can't retire because their 401k or their IRA is not growing, what was all this for? They're going to have to work until they're 90 in the automotive industry? That's ridiculous. Instead, this is my opinion, and you can tell me, I am open to suggestions. If you disagree with me, you can tell me in the comments. But it would seem far better to unleash the American economy, much in the same way that he did in his first term, by allowing businesses to pay as little taxes as possible, because then they don't have to pass that tax on to the consumer. It will always get passed on to the consumer. If you own a business, you know what I'm talking about. You don't pay for that tax. You pass it on to the consumer. I own businesses. I do the same thing. You got to lower the taxes for the businesses, but also you got to essentially cut as many regulations as possible. That's something Trump has talked about, but he needs to do more of it. And really, it's that simple. If Trump will do those 2 things, I think the economy will go roaring. And the reason why I say that is because that's what Trump did his first term. I don't know why he would stray for that. And again, I don't call for these things very often, but seriously, like tweet at Trump, like, hey, we don't like the tariffs. Tweet at him, because I think Donald Trump is the kind of guy who wants to succeed in creating a good economy like he did in his first term. Tariffs are not the way to do it. And I think if we talk about it enough, Trump will turn course, because at the end of the day, Trump still wants to have a successor win an election, and he can't win an election if the economy is doing bad, or even if somehow the economy does do well, if the perception is that it does bad, we know how that goes. We know the perception of the economy, and the economy really was bad under Joe Biden. And he literally had to get cooed out of it because of it. And even still, Kamala Harris lost. And it was really came down to a few things, but a lot of it was the economy. Donald Trump doesn't want that, but he only knows it if we tell him we need to do that. Again, I love Trump, but he's got to change course on this. Did you know that hundreds of thousands of Americans will lose millions of dollars this year because they forget to file their taxes? That's right, guys. This year, 88% will get a tax return of at least $3,000, but many choose not to file, thinking that they're going to lose money, and they leave money on the table. And that's why I partnered with Quick Tax America. Quick Tax America has already gotten its average tax returner over $4,000 back from the IRS just this year. And unlike the other services, they're not raising rates just because there's like 2 or 3 more weeks until taxes are over. All their tax returns are only $69. All federal tax returns only $69. It's one completely transparent price because it's their only price, no matter how complicated your taxes are. Quick Tax America runs dozens of simulations on your taxes to ensure that they get you your best return possible. They do all the work for you. All you got to do is upload your files, answer a few basic questions, and schedule a 15-minute finish your return call with a tax professional, and they do all the rest of the work. So go check them out right now, guys, at quicktaxamerica.com, or you can go to the link in the description below. Democrats are freaking out right now as my home state, Utah, guys, just tore down the George Floyd Monument in Salt Lake City. Here's a video of the demolition. Here's a fun fact, guys. If you don't live in Utah and you don't know this, the district that I live in right now is the 3rd district in Utah. It's just 45 minutes away from Salt Lake, by the way. Voted for Trump in a higher percentage than any other district that I'm aware of in the United States this last election cycle. So why in the world, this is my big question, was this memorial for a druggie ever here? Like, why would it be 45 minutes from the most conservative place in America? It's ridiculous. And you'll notice in the video there are actually other faces of people. The faces of those people are different people who were killed by cops. If you're listening, I put that in air quotes because George Floyd was not killed by a cop. And again, my question is, why does that belong on public land in Utah? Because that was city land. That wasn't a private thing. You know, if you're a private person and you're in a place that isn't zoned to restrict this and you want to put up a mural of George Floyd, like, we're going to all walk by it and we're going to think you're an idiot. And that's fine. But it is a free country. You can do that. But this is on city land. Get that political crap out of here. And let's please return to the days where you had an American or a state flag put up in that place. That's what we want. That's what the people want. Obviously, this is a good story because we're getting rid of a bad symbol in our state. So I'm not trying to make it a downer. It's a good thing. But the most fascinating part of all of this, I think, and this is what makes it extra, extra good, is that I have not seen any outrage over this at all. No outrage. And if you didn't know, Salt Lake City is a fairly liberal city. There's a lot of liberals in it. And so I think it shows how much the left is losing the culture war when no one wants to defend George Floyd or BLM anymore. I haven't gotten a one whiff of outrage over this. I really haven't. No one's talking about it. No one cares, except for the conservatives who are cheering it on. We are winning. I think that's just clear. When no one wants to defend the other side, you know you're winning. We're returning to normalcy, and it's great to see. Hey guys, I wanted to let you know about my book, A New Cult. It's up on the bookshelf right there. It is on sale on Amazon right now. I talk about some of the crazy stories on the left, how it's literally devolved into a cult and has cult leaders and some crazy stuff. I know you'll get a kick out of it. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.